like to ask people this is like, not only what's the number one takeaway from your book, but, and you talk about this kind of, is if you could go back 20 years and give yourself advice on managing a law firm, what would you tell yourself?
I would say two things. I'd say know your numbers, every number. And I would say hire a business coach early, even if you don't think you can afford one. I can elaborate, but they're pretty obvious. I mean, I cheaped out for a few years and waited on my business coach because I didn't want to spend the $5 or $6 it was a day, and I didn't want to take the time out of my practice. And I never knew my numbers. And now I live by the numbers. I'm addicted to the numbers. Everything I do, I won't make a decision without looking at the numbers. And it's just such a foreign concept. And I don't care if they can afford this book or not. I don't care if they can't afford a business coach. They can still know their numbers. Every number. How many phone calls are you getting a week? How many new calls? How many signed leads? What's your average case? How long does it take between you open it and close it, etc.? I mean, there's thousands of numbers you could track. Every firm's going to be a little different. And start writing them down. Start tracking them. Look for trends. If you're taking 20 calls a week and then a couple months later 19, 18, 17, 16, if you look, you'll know you can't just keep doing what you're doing. Think of it as a fire. Think of this jumbotron as a fire alarm. If you got a little baby fire, they're easy to put out with a cup of water. But if you ignore it for a year and a half, you got a 3-alarm fire and a huge blaze, and you need 3 fire departments to put it out. And the jumbotron will act as a fire detector, smoke detector, because it'll tell you when there's issues. I have people call me, buddies from law school. We'll have lunch. They'll say, my business is dying. I don't know what's going on. All the guys on TV are taking all the cases. What's your first question, Nick? How long has this been going on, right? I don't know. Well, what's your best guess? Maybe a year and a half. And I said, you're just coming to me now? Had you noticed? I have a goal, how many calls I want a week, how many cases I want to sign up a week. And it fluctuates a little bit, right? But if I'm ever seeing this after 2 weeks, I'm like, okay, what's going on, people? Let's check the TV numbers. Let's check the internet numbers. Let's check the phone. Let's da-da-da-da-da-da. If it's going up, I don't have to check much. I can go to the next issue. But how will I know if I'm not looking every week at the numbers? That's one tiny example. But I implore listeners to dive in, know your numbers, and you'll never look back.
I think that's the best place to start. I like that you said that, is because a lot of people, especially if you're out on your own or you feel stuck, you don't really know what to do next. It's hard to make a decision without having all the facts. And so if you know your numbers, or if you don't know your numbers, you should go and try to compile them. You know, I don't imagine that it's that hard. But even if you're doing well, like you said, like even if I see this going up, like, and I don't have anything better to do, maybe I'm looking at why. Maybe I could do something more of what's making it go up, you know, if I have room to grow. But there's just so much stuff that you could do with data.